Okay, welcome back to the channel. I was hoping to do this video in Flight Simulator 2024, but when I fired it up, I couldn't get the joystick to work. And so I shut down Flight Simulator 2024, and not wanting to spend another half hour rebooting it after I figure out the joystick issue, I thought I'd try it in il2 first. And so that's what I'm doing. And we'll see how it goes. I'm supposed to be having a little duel with my friend Steve from VR Flight Sim Guy over in England. And we were going to have a little dog fight. I don't know, maybe a best of 5 series for charity. We just haven't been able to put our heads together yet because, well, he's been busy and I've been out of the country. I was in Puerto Vallarta for 2 weeks learning Spanish in the mornings and having fun touring around with my sister in the afternoons. My sister joined me because my wife hates traveling. She just hates it, and I don't blame her. She's happy in our little house with her friends and everybody around. So I went away for a couple of weeks and learned some Spanish and had a great time in Puerto Vallarta. I was struck by what an easy town it is to be a tourist in. Although when you're walking out of the airport, you've got to be careful. Just walk right past those timeshare guys. I got sucked into visiting with one, and I wound up with an appointment. I was supposed to get a free round of golf. And I showed up for the appointment, and they paid for the cab and everything. It was great. But then for 2 hours, they basically tried to power sell me into something I didn't want to buy and that I knew my wife wouldn't want. And finally, after about an hour of this, I said, look, we're done here, folks. I am not going to go behind my wife's back and buy something I know she'll hate. And I don't know enough about this product. All you guys have done is write numbers down on a piece of paper and tell me what a great deal I'm going to be getting. Listen, when you get to the airport, just walk right by those timeshare guys. Pretend they're not there. Otherwise, you'll lose half a day and maybe more if they get you to buy something. Okay, so now now it's loading again. Oh, crap. It takes a while for il2 to load, too. In fact, it was the champion for slow load times until Flight Sim 2020 came along. And Flight Sim 2024 seems to take about as long as Flight Sim 2020, which means you have time for a shower and a bite to eat after starting the game, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for me. I like to stay clean and I like food. Okay, so here we are. We're in now, and I'm looking for a place to fly, and not sure what I'm going to fly, except there'll be World War I airplanes, just because I enjoy them. And I'm a huge fan of World War I planes, going back to the Charlie Brown days when I was a kid. And Snoopy flew his doghouse. In Warbirds, they made a flying doghouse that you could dogfight in on special days. It was, or from on top of. It was pretty fun back in the day. That was in, of course, 2D. Warbirds is still around, although it's struggling mightily. I don't know if it's got 10 guys playing regularly. It's too bad. We used to have 200 guys on and 200 guys waiting. But the world changes, and you move on with it. So let's just keep plugging away here at il2, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to see if my controls work. I've got NextSafer on, but I didn't do everything I needed to do to get it to work in il2, because il2 is not an OpenXR game, so I have to fart around a bit to get OpenXR NextSafer working in it. So here we are. Now I just have to remember what I mapped to stop the pause. Oh, there it is. Okay, figured it out. Well, we've got the Aldous sight and the wider window on top of the wing, which is a good thing, I think. It was often modified in the field until it became an official modification. There's the enemy. I picked a DR1 because I'm overly ambitious. I frankly haven't had much luck against DR1s in il2 because they roll better than the Camel. And that's probably makes sense because the Camel had to put ailerons on all four wings because the roll rate was terrible. I mean, it's always going to be bad going against the torque of the engine because it's a rotary engine. The cylinders rotate around the cylinders, so you get a ginormous amount of torque. There, I think I tried to do a kind of a half roll, a snap roll, to bring me around to his back a little quicker, and all I succeeded in doing there was nearly stalling the airplane and falling out of the sky. This would have been a shorter video, and by the end of it, some of you may be saying, why couldn't he have just crashed? Oh no. Oh, that's not good. That may leave a mark. Now I gotta try and not crash here while I get some speed. He seems to be managing his E better than I am because he's got altitude and he's doing a lovely little kind of a loop fight. But I think some of that is more perception than reality. I just have to handle the Camel a little bit better and keep the speed up and be patient. Because right now I don't have enough energy to loop up, do a half loop, and get on to his 6. I have to do his 6. Although that would be sick to be on a 6. I have to be patient. Like right now, I'm kind of in lag pursuit because I don't have the energy to pull my nose up and go to direct pursuit or pure pursuit. If I try to pull my gun sight ahead of him, I'll just fall out of the sky right now. I've got to just keep him from shooting me until I've kind of equalized our energy states. And up to the days of jets that had more than 1-to-1 thrust ratio, even through World War II, most dogfights would eventually circle down to ground level because the airplanes just couldn't keep turning indefinitely at the same rate. To keep their rate of turn up, they had to use gravity to help accelerate. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing little kind of yo-yo turns, pulling the nose up, pushing it down. There, I didn't give it enough. The Camel will actually turn really well to the right, as it did, I think, in real life. You needed left rudder to do it. And in fact, I think you needed left rudder to turn left too, but rolling to the left was really hard. I don't think they're able to model that in il2 as much as I'd like, the effect of the rotary engine's torque. Because all the rotary engines behave basically like inline engines, as far as I can tell. There might be a little more torque, but not a lot. But it's still great fun, isn't it? And it still looks good. I mean, for a game that was designed a long, long time ago, they've certainly done a good job keeping up. Now I'm sort of lost here and hoping that he's not on my 6, but he probably is. So let's just get some speed up and have a look for him. This is where I wish I had neck saver, because with neck saver I can check my 6. With my aging neck, and I'm over 60 now, closer to 70 in fact, it's very difficult for me to check 6. Even in a real airplane, it was hard for me to look behind me. So I really appreciate XR neck saver. Now if I'd had just a little bit more energy there, I could have rolled out of that onto his 6, but I didn't have enough energy, and here actually ran the engine out of gasoline because it's gravity fed. Engine stalled, and I had to avoid crashing again. So I'm still alive, but it's mostly by pure luck. Well, nobody said being a fighter pilot was going to be easy. In real life, for me, just crosswind landings were challenging enough. I never felt the need to want to be in an airplane with guns on it. Oh, we're getting some shots now. A little bit far out. Let's see if we can get inside point 1. then I can hit them pretty reliably, I think, with this oldest sight. We're a little far away still. We'll see what happens. We get into there. Now we're only 10 away. What's that, about 100 yards? Yeah, I hit his tail. If I can hit him in the fuselage, there. I think I might have killed the pilot. Oop, lost sight of him. Don't want to crash now. You can't get so busy watching the guy you just shot that you lose situational awareness and hit the ground. Yeah, I think I just saw his airplane on the ground, but for the next 5 minutes in this video, I'm going to search around uselessly like a moronoscope. So, yeah, I keep flying over him, but I didn't see him when I was actually doing the video because he was too close to my body. I should have, or to the body of the airplane, right underneath it. So that's the way you kill a DR-1 when you're me. Just be really, really, really lucky. I quite like the oldest sight, but I think the ring and pin sight is maybe a little more friendly to use. It's more difficult. You have to keep the pin centered in the ring, but it's kind of fun, I think. It's like shooting a rifle with aperture sights. You just keep the front blade centered in the ring. Well, I guess maybe I'll look around for an airport here for a while and we'll see what happens. I want to get a couple things off my chest here. I've been very sad the last few days with the world situation and Ukraine. I'm disappointed that the United States appears to be abandoning Ukraine. It seems to be of the belief that Putin is the good guy, which I can't figure out. But I don't want to get into that too much. Something that's closer to home is that my nation, Canada, appears to be under economic attack from the United States for no good reason as far as I could tell. Which is really saddening to me. I mean, it's very sad because the United States is my go-to destination for vacations. I've got friends down there, family down there. I mean, I can't tell you how much I've loved my time in the United States and how great Americans have been to me when I've been down there. Gosh, I went to Vegas, which is supposed to be a tourist trap, and the retailers were there right down to the pharmacist I had to visit. The retailers were superb and kind to me. And one of the pharmacists, in fact, had a map of Canada, and he'd put a pin in every location in Canada from which he'd received a visitor. So I thought, wow, there's a guy really taking interest in the world, you know? So much for ignorant Americans, right? That's a myth I like to destroy whenever I can. But this is not a myth. For no good reason, Trump is attacking his best friends, Canada. We've been allies for, gosh, over 100 years. We fought in 2 world wars together. The Americans were late to join in both, but that's understandable because going right back to George Washington, America's inclination has been to avoid foreign entanglements if they can. And that doesn't mean that they don't mess about with other countries. They do, of course. All big nations do, but there's a strong sense of isolationism in the States that you can't denigrate, you can't make fun of it. They have a right to feel that way. But when they did join in World War I and World War II, that ended the war. You know? So now here we are, having fought beside them as Canadians in World War I, World War II, Korea, Afghanistan, countless peacekeeping missions in the Balkans, and suddenly we're the enemy, and I don't understand why. Supposedly we're enabling fentanyl to cross the border, but according to the data I've seen, less than 1% of the fentanyl getting into the States comes across our border And we've been toughening it up in response to Trump's concerns, which are legitimate. I think we do need to be tougher on the border. We've been working pretty hard at toughening up the border. But I really think that's not the issue. I'm not sure what it is with Trump, because you don't know exactly what he wants from day to day. I mean, and that's not to say I disagree with everything he's doing. I do agree with better border security. I do agree with controlling the influx of illegal immigrants. I would hate to live in Texas, where they've had so many problems, and I have to admit I found it kind of funny and amusing in a sad way when the Texans started putting some of these border crossers on buses and sending them up north to New York. I mean, okay, maybe you should understand what they're going through before you criticize them for wanting a wall. Anyway, all that aside, I know I've always been a huge America supporter, because no nation was ever founded with better principles. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I mean, I don't see how it can get a lot better than that in terms of ideals. And now they're destroying our economy, or trying to. Not Americans, one guy, Trump. And I don't believe it's for the reason he says it is. I don't know what the reason is, because if you take oil out of the equation, the trade imbalance is actually in America's favor by about $55 billion a year, which we're okay with. I don't know how we can have a real trade imbalance with the USA. Oh, let me shoot this guy. Attack. Oh, I might have got a piece of him. Don't hit the tree. Oh, too late. Hit the tree. America has 10 times as many people as Canada, and yet we are its biggest trading partner. How on earth are 40 million Canadians going to buy as many American products as 300 and some million Americans will buy Canadian? I mean, that's not a trade imbalance. That's just a fact of the political landscape, the economic landscape, and the populations. But anyway, I hope we can get it all straightened out soon, because I'd planned to come down to the States and have a few days with a YouTube golf instructor that I really admire in North Carolina. I'm not going to mention his name. Brilliant guy. I was going to drive down there for a few days and visit the States and maybe see some friends, but no, not now. I will not visit the States again until Trump is out of office. I think he is I don't know exactly what's going on with him. As I say, I don't disagree with everything he's doing, but attacking Canada, your best friend, and then saying Ukraine should just basically give up, give Putin whatever he wants with no security guarantees? Isn't that sort of like letting a robber and a rapist finish before you stop him, and then letting him keep what he's taken? I don't understand the reasoning there. Since 1946 and NATO, how many times has a NATO country invaded Russia? Well, the answer is 0. And yet Baltic nation states are raging to join NATO because they're afraid of Russia. Why? Because while never invaded by a neighbor itself, Russia has invaded its neighbors, some of them, like Chechnya and Georgia, twice, and as many as 12 times in the last 30 years. So, who's the existential threat? NATO to Russia, or Russia to its neighbors? I think the answer is pretty clear. I think Trump has misidentified the enemy in both cases. And I am very sorry that that's the case. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. And I don't want to start a hate campaign, because, you know, in Canada we kind of love the United States. We stood beside America and Every situation you can think of. Anyway, I hope it gets straightened out soon. And in the meantime, I think I'm just going to try and land this airplane in the snow somewhere, since I can't seem to find a runway anywhere. It's not unusual for me to be lost. I can get lost trying to find the bathroom in the morning. That might be part of the aging process. I kill the engine here, and I'm just going to try and glide in for as gentle a landing as I can do, considering I believe I have damaged or even lost the left gear on my airplane from that minor disagreement with the trees back then. Honestly, the way they reach out and grab your airplane, it's just kind of disgusting and disheartening. All right, let's get the nose down. Never try to stretch a glide. All right, let's start raising the nose a little bit and see if we can touch down gently. It'd be nice to hit right gear first. Yeah, right gear, and now it's, yeah, lost the gear. So, but that's not bad. We just did that was, by my standards. You listen, we can maybe use the airplane again. We'll probably have to fix the gear, fill a tire. But I've made a landing, and we might be able to use the airplane again. Hey, that's progress. Listen, my American friends, if you're watching this, I hope you're not too upset with me. Because when all of this trade crap is over, I do want to go back to visiting the United States and enjoying being with my friends and neighbors again. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back.